People who have had cancer, how did you first notice? I would like to remind everyone to get an endoscopy and colonoscopy when the time comes. My dad went for his routine endoscopy and that's how they spotted his gastric cancer. It was only stage 1 or possibly even stage 0, unsure, so he was able to have it removed while retaining 20 of his stomach. He showed no symptoms at all and it wasn't noticeable. The doctor said that for gastric cancer, symptoms typically show up at stage 4, so don't wait until you start feeling unwell or something strange pops up, and just get checked regularly. Started noticing that my throat looked weirdly swollen for months. Finally went to a doctor and it turned out to be thyroid cancer. Now 4 years later I'm finally confirmed to be cancer-free. I wondered about the lump in my throat for too long because I was scared it was something bad. Ironic, I know, and just wanted to ignore it. I was so dumb, but lucky it hadn't spread. Please go see a doctor if you suspect that something is wrong. Most cancers are treatable if they just catch it early. Not me, but my fiance had a tooth that was bleeding and wouldn't stop. Man, it was horrible. Went to her, they would say it's dental problems and send us away. Go to dentist, they would tell us not their problem. Go back to her. Totally of going to her 4 times and dentists 5. Dentists got upset, they were kept getting turned away. Finally he went with us to the ER and told them they need to test him cause it was not a dentist issue. After seeing like a million tests came out it was leukemia. A family friend just passed from cancer. Was diagnosed with it 3 months ago. First he spotted blood in his pee, after some tests it came back he had kidney cancer and that it was in his blood too. 1 week after diagnosis he had an MRI that showed he had cancer in his bones too. He had minor aches in his joints, but he put that down to being 70. He had no other symptoms of cancer beyond the blood in his pee and he passed away just over 3 months after seeing it. Lymph nodes. The first cancer, it was just one in my groin, but it swelled up to about the size of my thumb in a month. The second time it was a cluster of 4 or 5 that went from being almost impossible to feel, to small pebbles in a few weeks. By the time they actually got to the biopsy procedure they were all as big as my thumb and I was terrified it was out of control. Almost 6 years ago for the second and now considered cured again. I broke my femur on Christmas Eve last year. I went to an urgent care where they found a mass on my femur. They then referred me to another doctor, who confirmed my stage 4 bone cancer. I have been fighting it for almost a year now, undergoing a knee and femur replacement, as well as 9 months of chemo. Felt crap all the time and was shitting blood. Doctor told me it was hemorrhoids because 37-year-old women just don't get bowel cancer. If she'd taken me seriously I'd have been diagnosed 3 months sooner. If you know something is wrong and nobody will listen to you, find a different doctor. Felt tired, craved sugar and lost weight. Oh, and night sweats. Was told that I was way too young, 38, and that it was probably a mental issue. Demanded blood test, which was wrong. Got an echo and found a tumor the size of an apple in my right kidney. 8 years cancer-free now. I had a very small mark just above my belly button that would never quite heal. Took 2 operations to get all the cancer out. Fortunately it was a carcinoma and it was the only one I've had for at least 15 years. I get annual cancer scans and they've all been clean. I've got an inoperable benign brain tumor and had salivary gland cancer approximately 10 years apart. Symptoms of brain tumor were double vision, severe but short headaches, and I've always had shaky hands. Symptoms of parotid cancer was just a small lump under my ear. Dimple on the chest, went to the doctor about something else and mentioned it. Go to breast clinic for biopsy and had breast cancer. After surgery, chemo and radiotherapy, now 17 years cancer-free. 100 would not recommend as a way of having 9 months off work. I'll post for a church buddy. He went in for his first colonoscopy at 50. Unfortunately he had a family history of colon cancer and should have gone in at least 5 years earlier. His first colonoscopy found stage 3 colon cancer. No symptoms otherwise. I shaved off the beard I'd had for a few years and saw a big dark mole on my cheek that I didn't remember having before. Long story short, melanoma. Turns out it wasn't the only one, I just hadn't noticed the others as they'd been slowly appearing. Started to hurt and saw a little blood when I peed. Was sure I had a kidney stone, common in my family. Went to the ER. CT showed an eggplant-sized tumor engulfing my left kidney. I had 0 symptoms until that day. Blood pressure started spiking and I started breaking out. The doctors and I didn't know that the two were related until they sent me for a CT. Then a large tumor was found on my adrenal gland. Had an itch on my cheek and what I thought was a pimple or a bug bite. Scratched it and a chunk of flesh came off. It was neither a pimple nor a bug bite. Fortunately only required a little cutting. Feeling exhausted all the time for no apparent reason. Normally a very active person, so I did pay attention, listen to your body instincts, and don't waste time seeking medical help. Trouble sleeping for 6 months, pain on side, lumps in breast, constant headaches, and nightmares. When we found out, her rib was completely disintegrated. Consult doctor if you experience any of these out of the blue: vomiting, feeling tired, losing weight rapidly, etc. I felt an enlarged lymph node in my neck. Turns out it was asymptomatic metastatic papillary thyroid cancer.